Bloody hell.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. It is Liverpool 3, Manchester United 0 at Old Trafford. All I have to say is thank God I didn't have to go live straight after the game, or else I could have been taken off YouTube. I was absolutely fuming. I still am fuming, but we are here to break it down with Tul, Kev and Mordzs. Make sure you get all of your reactions in the chat as well and get your comments in. Where did we go wrong? What can we take from the game? Obviously, what are the feelings towards the manager, the players, the substitutions right now? Get in the comments down below what you think. First and foremost, Kev, I'll start with you. I mean, overall feelings coming off the back of that game, like what is your overall initial thoughts?
Overall, deflated, embarrassed. I think embarrassed would be the main word, because you go into a game like this and you're obviously well up for it. It's Liverpool. You said before the match that form goes out the window. It's whoever wants it more. And for some reason, I mean, Erik Ten Hag, there's so many questions. I mean, to bench a player that was like United's Player of the Month, scored against Brighton in the previous game, to then bench him to start accommodating players that aren't even putting it in for you is just absolute ludicrous. I don't know where to start with that, because it's like, what is going on? Why are you rewarding and persisting on playing players in this team that are not actually giving you anything back? And in the long run, if this continues, it isn't sustainable. Erik Ten Hag will lose his job and he'll have nobody to blame except himself. You set up that team to give yourself the best chance of getting a result. Today, I don't think he did that.
I mean, for me, it's like how many things are we going to blame? How many things are we going to blame? You know, people didn't want McTominay to play. McTominay's not there. I think he was overly criticised at times. You know, people talking about Sancho. Sancho's not there. People talking about the fact that, you know, we needed full-backs in. We've got Mazraoui, we've got Dallowin, who I thought both were pretty decent today. I mean, we've got De Ligt starting now. You've got a striker in Xerxes up front. Like, how many people now to talk about Casemiro? And, well, I mean, we will get into Casemiro. Yeah. Oh my, we will get into Casemiro. But the overall setup, Tull, it's not right, is it?
No, I mean, all the blame today goes on the manager, literally all of it. Like before the game, I was the same as Kev. In my head, I was saying, yeah, we're probably going to get beat, but if someone asked me for my score prediction, 1-1 maybe. But, you know, in your heart, you think, you know, form goes out the window. I think a couple of seasons ago, we started the season poorly, but, you know, we lost our first couple of games, but then it was Liverpool at Old Trafford and we managed to get a result. So you think, yeah, maybe we can do the same again today, but literally all it took was 20-30 minutes for you to go, yeah, we're not getting anything here today. You could just see from the midfield, the team was all over the place.
It's the manner of the defeat as well. Yeah. You know, if we'd have been beaten today by Liverpool, who were the better team, but you could see something where you were like, all right, you know, we were unlucky, or you make your own luck, you know, in football. The manner of the way that United just let Liverpool run through them.
We put it on a plate for them.
It should have been 4-5, could have been 6-0. Yeah. It really could have. And I know United had a few chances. If you want to try and be slightly positive, you could look at the performance of De Ligt, who, you know, coming in first start, thought he did really well. But apart from that, you're looking at the opposition team. You've got a manager who's been in for what? That's his third game. And already you can see Liverpool are playing to that manager's, you know, they're dancing to his kind of tune already after 3 games. We're third season in with Erik Ten Hag, and, you know, what's the game plan? How are we still sat here on the United Stand discussing what is United's identity and what is the style of play? It's madness.
I think we have a style of play and identity. I just think it's executed so poorly and it's just not right.
Yeah, it's just rubbish. It's not working.
It's poor, and it's consistently poor. I mean, Mordzs, for me, I said before going into this game, anyone can get beat by Liverpool. They're a very good side. It's how we play and how do we match up to them toe-to-toe, considering we're Old Trafford. What is highly concerning for me, and people can dress it up as much as they like, you know, Arne Slot took over a better team, he took over a better starting 11, whatever. Fact of the matter is, he's been in, what, 2-3 months? They look 10 times better than us. Ten Hag's been here for 3 years. We look awful.
They look fitter than us, man for man. They look... I can't understand it. I cannot understand it. It's the start of the season.
I mean, I'm going to get to Ten Hag anyway, because, like you said, he's very, very much at fault. But, I mean, like I said at the start, it's all over the pitch. It's easy to blame Ten Hag for picking a certain player and that player playing bad, because why did he pick him? But we have to talk about the players who had terrible games, because at the end of the day, if he didn't pick Casemiro, who else would he have picked? Would he started Collier? He didn't have the best game. Who else would he have put in that position? So there are certain players. I don't think Garnacho or Rashford had a good game today. I think the defence, in general, had a decent game, but they were just caught off guard a lot because of how empty the midfield was. So it kind of made it look 10 times worse. We have to start looking at some of the players as well. And I don't think, like, for example, someone like Casemiro, I don't think his future is anywhere near United. I don't think he's a player where people are thinking, you know what, maybe give him 2 more years. No, he just needs to go now. Like, it's one of them ones where he's actually ruining his legacy just by playing football. Like, he's making people think, wait, was Casemiro even that good when he was in his prime? Because the mistakes that he's making, I even said this before the forum, there were actually some times where he's making decent tackles in the game. I was thinking, you know what, well done, like, you've made a good tackle, and you've completely erased everything you've done by making 2 terrible mistakes. To be fair, you've made more than 2 mistakes in the game, but obviously 2 that led to goals, and you've completely erased everything else that the team's done, and you just put us in a terrible position. And the position that he plays as a defensive midfielder is such a risky position, because you are protecting the whole back line. And because of how we play football, or how most good teams play football with that high line, usually you have fullbacks who are so far forward. If your DM is making mistakes, you just put everyone at risk, because as soon as they win the ball back, exactly what Liverpool did, they're on a counter-attack. And Liverpool, they're probably the most dangerous team on a counter-attack. You've got Salah, Diaz, Jota, Gravenberch was playing well as well today in the midfield. You're setting us up for trouble. And the same thing happened with Maino as well. I don't think Maino had a bad game. I thought Maino had a good game, actually. He always has a good game, but he's just being worn out in that midfield because there's no one next to him. He's probably tired from just running back and forth all the time, having to cover Casemiro. He makes a mistake, they win the ball back, and it's the exact same goal again. So, look, like I said at the start, Ten Hag is 100% to blame for this loss. But let's also look at the players who are playing terribly.
Just to touch on that, though, dead quick, I think, like what Beth's saying about the setup with the midfield being all over the place, I think you could put any other midfielder in Casemiro's place today and the exact same problems would have happened. I can't think of 2 midfielders in the world where you could put in that setup and it'd be okay.
One thing for me, which is a serious issue, and I know everybody will start to scapegoat Casemiro, and do not get me wrong, I think he was super poor. Despite the system, his passing is abysmal. He constantly was costing us, in possession, he'd give it away, and then we'd be out of position, not be able to track back in time to defend what was coming at us. But the fact of the matter is, you are right. Like, Casemiro isn't mobile as it is. You leave him there on his own. Like, nobody, you could put Rodri there and he wouldn't be able to do it. Like, the system is not right. For me, there's multiple things that is really worrying me. Overall, I think we could have massively done with Ugarte because of his energy and because his work rate and the way he can get about the pitch. But even he's not 3 players in one. Like, he will struggle in this setup as well. But I look at the midfield and it's like, for me, Bruno Fernandes has been our best player since he came into the club. And people will tell me, oh, Bruno's out of position. The manager will be instructing him to play like that. He's not just deciding to be a striker, playing so high up the pitch. The manager is instructed Bruno to press high and be high up the pitch. You then lose the creativity of him, because when he's dropped a bit deeper, he can dictate the play more. Bruno's out of the game, and it leaves Maino and Casemiro more exposed. Maino is, for me, a generational talent that we should be getting the best out of. He's been running to the ground, and it's like you're asking him to have 8 legs. He can't get everywhere, and we can't get the best out of him. We are completely compromising our best players. The best managers get the best out of their best players. Ten Hag, for me, is making Bruno look worse. Maino, I can still see how good he is, but he's asking him to do way too much, and we're not getting the best out of him, like in games like this one we're supposed to. And it's like, then you have Casemiro, who has no legs, and you're asking him to basically, be in like 4 different places at once. The structure of pressing super high up the pitch, but then having a line that isn't high up as well, you've just got this huge gap in the midfield that's like a donut, and it happens every time.
You've got Kobbie Mainoo, who's by far the most talented player in that squad by far. and he's just doing Casemiro's dirty work. It's just
and that's why he's ended up looking worse than
and
he is.
that's on Ten Hag
because of the way we're playing, and because he's playing next to someone who can't play football.
I don't think Mainu looked good today, but he's been set up to fail. He's by far the most talented player, but why is he having to accommodate for Casemiro?
And also, when you look at Mainu as well, because I know there's obviously going to be people who think, because of the goal, that's going to be the main thing in people's eyes, like Mainu caused one of the goals, or was one of the factors for one of the goals. But if you look at the things that Mainu did well, a lot of them was based on the fact that he was just in terrible positions. He's got the ball because he always had to win back the ball because, like I said, maybe Casemiro lost it, or he's just had to drop so far back to try and cover the spaces that he's just in a horrible position. He's had to like figure out something to try and get out of a tight space, and it's like he shouldn't even have to be doing that. I've always said I wanted to see Mainu even push a little bit further up the pitch, because I think in and around the final third, he's got such great qualities. He can obviously finish. We've seen him finish well. He's got a good pass in him, and he's got quick feet. He can play in and around like tight areas. He's not even able to do that because he's having to be pressed so far back because Casemiro is just all over the pitch. And now he's thinking, you know what? If I don't come and cover him, like Beth said, the midfield is going to be completely open. And like I said before,
and this
goals came from that.
It's not scapegoating Casemiro. We're United fans that watch him every week. Last season there was a huge drop off. This season has continued, and anybody that watched that game today, I mean, if you were even given a player rating, I asked you before, didn't I, and said, what would you give Casemiro as a joke? And you said, I wouldn't even rate him. That's how bad he was today. But the drop-off has been so alarming with Casemiro, because he was good for one season. And it's basic stuff as well. It's not to the point where you go, oh, he's too slow, he can't get back, because he's never really been quick. You see him fall at the floor, look to the referee for some help, thinking, please give this as a foul because we are in big trouble here. And that's it really in a nutshell at the minute. It's a problem. He's 32. He's not going to get any quicker. But can he cut these mistakes out? This is why United have signed.
Well, to give him a little tiny bit of leeway. When we played against City in the Community Shield, I thought he was our best player.
Yeah.
When we played against Fulham, I thought he was quality. Casemiro. But in those games, there wasn't another man up the pitch in Bruno. We had three men in the middle. Do you know what I mean? It's like rather than giving Casemiro a new pair of legs, just put Bruno in the midfield.
I just think he didn't make any mistakes. I think best players just means he doesn't make a bad mistake.
To be honest, I think because Casemiro was so poor last season, people thought, he was better, in the Community Shield and against Fulham. And don't get me wrong, like he wasn't bad, but he wasn't as good as what we need. And it's like every single game, I find myself in the crowd, or if I'm watching on TV, being like, please, I was literally losing my mind today, and it's because he's so sloppy in his passes. I will 100% admit that midfield is way too open when we have Bruno playing up front with another striker, and nobody can deal with it. So, Casemiro, when he gets left in his own, I have sympathy, but there is no excuses for the way he just consistently loses the ball, even when he has no pressure on him. Just loose passes back to Liverpool, and players are trying to make runs, and we have no one there to defend it. No wonder we've got 5-on-1. If you're losing the ball with no pressure, that's my issue with him. Like the issue with him, getting back and not being able to sometimes get the tackle in. I get that. We have holes in our midfield. There is no structure. I will allow that sometimes. Well, I shouldn't allow it. I would criticise Ten Hag for that, for the setup. But just willy-nilly passes to Liverpool players. And that's what them 2 goals were. The 2 goals wasn't because, to be fair, the second goal, the positions of the players were poor. It was like 5-on-2, I think it was. But big reasons of that is the first 2 goals. Casemiro passes it straight to a Liverpool player. Second goal, literally gets shoved off the ball, and our players aren't in position. They are individual errors for me. It's
just basic stuff for somebody that is so, he's won the lot, he's so experienced, 32 years old. That in that, like you say, the holding midfield role, that is his bread and butter. That's his game in a nutshell. You do not make them mistakes there. You just invite in pressure, and Liverpool were clinical today. That holding midfield role, you have to be the best player on the ball. I don't care. As a DM, you look at the great DMs of all time, like Pirlo's and Busquets and all these. I know I'm not trying to compare these guys to Casemiro, I'm just saying, but those players are the best players at keeping the ball on the pitch. Because whenever the ball comes to them, they're super press resistant. They can find a pass in any tight area. Look at Carrick. Carrick could find a pass anywhere. He was the safest option to give the ball to. As a DM, you need to be that. How can our DM be the most
like the last person you want to give the ball to.
The
in a risky
least spatial
situation.
awareness.
Yeah,
on
like the
pitch,
least press-resistant player. How can that be possible? And maybe, look, this is something that probably you can blame Ten Hag or the coaching assistants on, but if Ten Hag must know that Casemiro is not press-resistant, he must know that Casemiro gives the ball away. We've seen it for the past year and a half. Like, it's not new. So if I'm Ten Hag and I'm picking Casemiro for a game like this, knowing that Liverpool on a counter are super dangerous, surely he's setting up thinking, I need a plan B in case Casemiro loses the ball, because it could easily happen. There's no way he's thinking, I'm going to play Casemiro as the last man or one of the last players on for the team and not have anyone to cover behind him, because that's exactly what happened. Like Beth said, there was a point where Casemiro gave the ball away and it was like 5-on-2. Why is there no tactic just in case Casemiro loses the ball? Because Mazraoui was super far forward. I think it was just De Ligt and Martinez who were running back, and he had about 4 players in front of them. And I think it was Diaz's goal, the header. There was 2 players on the back post with no one defending him. There should have been attack. There should have been at least an option or a plan B to say, you know what, yeah, if Casemiro's got the ball, someone needs to cover. Like, if we're going to pick Casemiro, knowing what he's capable of, somebody needs to cover, because if he loses the ball, what's going to happen? We're outnumbered and they're going to score.
And the second, the Diaz goal was almost a carbon copy of the other week against Brighton, where you put a ball over to the back post and there's 2 players and
there's
nobody there marking.
There's multiple people at fault for that. That's not just Casemiro. There's multiple people at
fault. But I don't think Ten Hag. Listen, I've always been a fan. I've tried to get behind him and stuff, but I think supporters are going to start changing their opinion. You know, you were at the game today. I could hear the booing of the substitution of Garnacho wasn't booing Garnacho. I think we know it's because the fans are thinking, how is Marcus Rashford staying on the pitch? It's just making, it's a huge headache for himself. And I think once the home crowd start, questioning you, and how many times have we been here before with previous managers? It will only go one way. I want to see it work for Ten Hag, but it's his 3rd season now. I can't do this Groundhog Day shit every single season. It'll drive you mad.
It just feels like it's destined for Van Nistelrooy to become the caretaker manager, and then it's just this same cycle that we've been going through for the last how many years, where we sack a manager at Christmas and then someone comes in till the end of the year and then we get a new manager. They're in for 2-3 seasons.
Rinse and repeat, isn't it?
Yeah, it's literally like, it's painful.
Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is for me? It's like, the viewers will know this, that watch regularly, like, I've backed Ten Hag so much. I wanted him to stay at the end of the season because I thought that win against Manchester City was so good, and I thought I didn't want to just keep doing this sacking. And what I wanted is, I never said, Ten Hag, he's 100% going to win titles with us. I want him to. But what I wanted was for him to at least get the structure of Ineos, get the new signings, get the backing over the summer. There is 0 excuses now. You have got signings. Fair enough, okay, we could have got an extra midfielder, we could have got a left back, but you have got signings. Not everything can be perfect. You've got coaches in now. And this season, I'm going to be completely honest, I know we're only 3 games in. Fulham game, I was pretty happy with, to be fair. That Brighton game and then this game today really has made me question him. Because I'm seeing things where I'm like, I don't get how you can make these decisions. I don't get how you're setting us up like this. And I'm seeing other teams with less time, with managers with less time come in and they look good. Yeah. And it's like, you've had 3 years. And even that quote where it was like, we will win trophies. Okay, I'm grateful. I want to win trophies. Like, well, Manchester United, okay, yeah. It's not as if you're delivering Champions Leagues and Premier Leagues, mate. We're 8th in the league last year. I am sick to death every single season of my friends who are rival fans absolutely bantering us because we are poor. And today it was embarrassing when Manchester United and Liverpool, they played us off the park. You can talk about Casemiro's mistakes all day long. We didn't like scoring. No, we've been here so many times with it, but I said it, the word at the start was embarrassed. It was humiliation at some stages. There was about half an hour left, and they're passing the ball around, they're cheering. We couldn't get the ball off them. I've seen this against like Manchester City in the past as well, and it's just really, really difficult to take. But I'm going to bring some super chats in a second, but here are a few red flags for me so far, right? Regarding Erik Ten Hag, and I'm not going to sit here and say, Erik Ten Hag out, he has to go tonight. I'm just saying, this is my thinking right now as someone who was backed and hard to say, here are some of my red flags. First red flag, we'll start at the Brighton game. I thought first half, we actually played really well. Second half, what is happening. Multiple times under Erik Ten Hag, we come out in the second half and we look like a disaster. That's what happened against Brighton. The manager of Manchester United, why can't we get players up for the second half? I get you had to take Mount off, but, managers have to deal with stuff all the time. Taking Bruno off, in a high line. Who does that? Yeah. Like, when we had a high line to create chances in behind and you take Bruno off. I mean, next thing in today's game, Ahmad is player of the month, right? He's player of the month. He's been our best winger for a few months now, towards the back end of last season, and you don't start him.
Madness.
It's like there's multiple other things. I mean, the way we approached this game again, it was so amateur. Relying on that through ball to Rashford or Garnacho, but literally not being able to pass the ball from back to front again through the midfield because there's too much space. I mean, people talking about playing a high line. Our defence is deep. I'm sorry, but it is. And Martinez and De Ligt are playing. And I thought Martinez and De Ligt were both good. But our defence was deep and our press was so really high forward. You've got this huge gap. There's just multiple things that I'm like, what are you doing? And when you feel like that as a fan, it's frustrating, and I don't think he's helping himself in the way he speaks.
He's not helping himself. I don't like seeing like the scenes that you see today when your own fans are booing a manager, but they pay good money to go and watch it, and they're entitled to their opinion, and it's not being reactionary to one result. It's not all us stood here now like throwing our toys out the pram going, Liverpool beat us, and we're doing it because it's happening every season. We've had 2 years of this and we're into the third season now. The honeymoon period for Erik Ten Hag is well and truly over. He can't say he's not been backed. Yes, he might argue that, I want to get Højlund back, maybe get Ugarte in the team, but it could be too late by then. These 3 points from a possible 9 at the start of the season. Fair enough, Liverpool today beat us, but even the Brighton result, and it's not sustainable. You cannot continue. What's the next game? Is it Southampton?
Away.
Yeah, and we're all like, we'll beat them. Will we? Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if Southampton are thinking, I can't wait to play that lot at this stage of the season.
And the problem with Ten Hag, I said it on the build-up show, is first of all, he needs to stop speaking. Like, if he could get like a translator to speak for him or something, because I feel like when he speaks, he makes everything 10 times worse for him. Because him saying about, I win trophies, this is what I do, I've been doing it for 11 years, I've been doing it for my whole career. Okay, that's cool, but I'll be honest, the way England, like the Premier League, not just the Premier League, but England in general, like teams genuinely don't, like cup competitions, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, it's not common that teams actually win those trophies every single year. We've actually overachieved by winning those 2 trophies. And if you look at the manner we did it, flipping out, we almost lost to, what was the team in the semi-final? Coventry, almost lost to them on penalties. Just about beat Liverpool in the quarterfinals.
And the one in the previous round, who was that Anthony scored against?
I can't remember.
They're not like a non-league team, weren't they?
Newport.
Newport.
So it's not like we just absolutely he's running through these cups and dominating every team. No, we're just about winning. And don't get twisted, I'm happy that we won trophies. We all want to win trophies. But if he thinks that this is just going to carry on and we're just going to win the FA Cup every year or win a trophy, that's not how it's going to work. It will be a huge achievement if we were to win another trophy this year, 3 years in a row.
What?
So he should be thinking, you know what? Trophies are great, but I should actually be focusing on how good we are playing, because those trophies are not going to last forever. Simple as.
You don't want to become like a cup team. It's great having a day out, but the question you'd have to ask any kind of supporter is, would you rather win the Carabao Cup or be competitive in the Premier League? Of course you'd want to be competitive in the Premier League, because it at least shows that even if you finish in second, third, whatever, but at least you fight for it, you're going to be playing half decent football over a 38 sort of game season, as opposed to playing a few games in the Carabao Cup and lifting a trophy that's got 3 handles.
Feels like we've become it feels like really Arsenal under Wenger. Do you know when Arsenal like under Wenger, where they were just like they'd finish like 5th, 4th every year, but then every 2 seasons they'd win a cup.
I'd rather be competitive in the Premier League.
Yeah, in England especially, it's all about the league because it's so competitive. Like, and just because we've not had it in years, I just want us to finish in the top 4 at this point. But it's like we can't even get a run of successful seasons
That's so
going.
Depressing, isn't it?
Do you know what?
That we're gagging to finish in the top 4.
Yeah, like it's a miracle if we get top 4.
That's to take the piss out of Arsenal fans for this. Going, you're having a trophy parade when they finish top 4, and Wenger used to say this is how the club had to be built and they had to finish top 4 every season. And now we're more or less saying, I'd love to be in the top 4.
Dan the Man said, terrible result, performance wasn't as bad as last season, but strings of mistakes and poor balls in the final third cost us dearly. Anil Sexar says, if we have a system, there are a few passing options for players with the ball in the system. Players are not passing the ball back to opposition. Yeah, passing lanes are... there's no options ever, and it's not because we have poor players, it's because the system's poor setup. Robert says it's over for him now, he's lost the fans and the stadium is nearly empty at 80 minutes. It's over, get Rude in ASAP. Rohith Reddy says he should be sacked based on his signings alone. Caleb says, I genuinely think Rashford would be great as a power sub with a point to prove. At this point, Erik Ten Hag is absolutely ruining Rashford's career too. No belief. Mario Rossi says it is on the manager, but Rashford must have a clause in his contract. Danny H says, I've always thought that Erik Ten Hag was made to play Casemiro and Rashford because of the wages they're on. If this was the case, it is on Erik Ten Hag for having played them or on the ownership. I See Dead Body says, please explain to me how under different managers with different players, we as a team look like we cannot play football. I am being serious. Football or Soccer says, Erik Ten Hag has been making the same mistakes all last season. When we called it out, this channel called us toxic. It was never about that. Wake up. No, people just had different opinions. Ricky's been Erik Ten Hag out for like 2 years, and we still have him on the show and entertain him. It's the way you put your opinions across. That's
what was that? We were saying that they were toxic.
Apparently, people who said Erik Ten Hag out were saying we're toxic. We weren't saying that. It's the way in which you say things. When you start calling someone a bald fraud, yes, that is toxic. If you say, I don't think Ten Hag's the manager to take us forward, and here's why, that's a debate.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it is worrying. I See Dead Bodies put that super chat in. Please explain to me how under different managers with different players, we just look like a poor team. We've had different squads, different managers. We just
tried everything. Yeah. Literally everything. I guess.
Hassan Mahood says we have to remember that Rashford has a must-play clause in his contract. I don't
think he does.
People keep making this up, and well, the people keep saying it, but it's like there's been no confirmation of that. I don't think any player at United has a must-play clause in the contract.
Insane. And Ten Hag would have made that call.
And if they do, I was going to say he needs sacking on the strength of that. If any player ever demanded that when fully fit, I must be in the starting 11, what kind of
I would have
an egotistical kind of thing is that? I'd say.
If I'm a manager and I come into a club and I'm looking at the players' contracts and that's in a contract, I'm selling him. That's insane. I'm selling.
Just got a couple more to get through and then we'll carry on with the show. Maybe Rashford might be the next talking point. Chris says a GoFundMe is needed to reveal Rashford's clauses. Either that or Ten Hag rewards mediocrity. Anana as well. Yeah, we'll be talking about him too. Lee Cape Town says honestly, get rid of Bruno, Marcus, Casemiro, Anana, Ten Hag. And then we will play better. We are a top 8 team. I'm sick of excuses. Eyes don't lie. Preemie Prodigy says Ten Hag has the lowest standards post-Fergie with the most financial backing. You guys were dropping letters and petitions to keep him here. Anthony Tracy says Saudi window is open till October the 6th. Saudi Arabia aren't interested in Casemiro. People keep saying
they wouldn't even want him.
They're not interested. Arash says we have no defensive structure. Brighton and Liverpool's goals came from the poor structure. Ugarte needs to start from now on. We need more structure. Kazmofo says, what are they doing in training? It's a clueless team. United One says, as per usual, Cassie, Rash or Anana get scapegoated by some fans. And Mark, the system's a problem, the same as last season, looking everywhere but Erik Ten Hag. We'll get more super chats in a second, but I think that's a really, really good point. People saying, we need, when will it end? When will it end? We need to drop McTominay, we need to drop Sancho, we need to drop Bruno, we need to drop Casemiro, we need to drop Rashford, we need Anana. Players are making mistakes and they're having poor performances, but the system is the problem, guys. I'm sorry, but it is.
Yeah.
Does anyone disagree with that?
What is the system? Yeah, I'd totally agree, because I'd follow it up by saying like I just said earlier, identity, style of play, system, what is it? And they are capable of doing it, because they did it in the FA Cup final. City never ran through us like Liverpool did today, but you have to react to that as well.
I actually think they tried to address it at the start of the season by playing Mount and putting an extra midfielder in there. I do think that was Ten Hag's attempt at addressing that issue, but then you've not got a striker on the pitch. It's like, rather than, it's like robbing Peter to pay Paul. Do you know what I mean? It's like, rather than just fixing that issue in the midfield.
You're correct.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
You're absolutely right. And people would come on here and say Mount does nothing. No, Mount was very crucial for us. That's what we were trying to say. He wasn't flashy.
I thought Mount was great. Had a great start.
Energy was important, and people say, well, we need to take Bruno out then because he's playing too far forward. Bruno is a 29-year-old professional who is a regular in the Portugal team. He's captain of Manchester United. He's very well liked around the club. I'm 99% sure if a manager said, Bruno, will you drop deeper into the midfield, he would do it.
He'd do anything for United.
That's
Literally
why
anything.
I feel like the way Ten Hag is instructing Bruno to play is costing that midfield balance a lot of it.
But I don't understand why we're the only top team that has to play like that. Because City don't have to. Haaland can go the whole game without doing anything, and no one's saying, "Oh, why is Haaland not dropping back? Why is he not pressing?" Because the way our City's midfielders play is
system.
they can cover certain ground, or the fullbacks can help cover the ground, or the one of the defenders might drop into midfield and help, so that the midfielders can push a bit further forward. Like, it's literally, like you said, based off a system. We shouldn't have to play 4 midfielders. Like, we shouldn't have to do that. Like, no other top team has to do that. Even Arsenal don't even have a striker, but the players that they're playing in the front three all know how to press, and the midfielders all know how to press. They're probably one of the best pressing teams in the league. They don't have to play with a midfielder in the false nine. So why do we have to do it?
We did the same thing the start of last season as well. When we started off the season and we were all going, the midfield is terrible. When we played Wolves in the opening game of the season, and it was just the same thing where the game was completely wide open. Like, how many times are we going to tweak this system? Do you know what I mean? It's like we make small tweaks and they never work. It's like it just gets worse every time.
I'd love Ten Hag to be asked that question.
Do you know what I mean? It's like
someone ask him it in a press conference or something. But you know what's mad? We had Casemiro and Eriksen and Bruno as the midfield for that first season. Remember how many games we went unbeaten with that midfield and we looked really good?
It looks solid.
How can that just go so Pete Tong within a year?
Yeah, one season can just completely change the player.
I've got a quote that you're all going to not like, by the way.
Ten Hag.
Ten Hag gets asked about Ugarte.
Stop speaking, this guy.
And he said, this is on Ugarte, it's not like I'm Harry Potter. If you see Ugarte, he hasn't played in the season so far. He needs to build his fitness. It will take weeks or maybe months.
To play Ugarte?
He said, this is exactly his quote. It's not like I'm Harry Potter. If you see Ugarte, he hasn't played in the season so far. He needs to build his fitness. It will take weeks, maybe months.
That can't be like his decision though. Surely that's like a medical decision. Surely.
Well, on Casemiro's performance today, you'd be thinking, God, we need him back. We need this Ugarte in, not even if he's like 20% fit just to play. But
just feels like the manager lowering the expectations, to be honest with you. It just feels like he's saying,
he's more
don't get your hopes up.
Take a bit of pressure off, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like he's just saying, don't get your hopes up, yeah.
Months, he's basically injured. That's how I look at it.
He can't be. He can't be. He's been training. He's been training with the first team. Genuinely, I'd still...
And he must have been training while he was at PSG as well. You're not telling me he's...
Apparently, he's impressed everyone with how fit he is. That's what I got told yesterday, even though he's not played yet. But I don't know.
It's the curse of United, isn't it? The old medical department.
The only thing I can say, at least
time.
we've got a 2-week international break, so hopefully that's part of the week.
He's
Surely it will be. I don't think it'll
go.
be months.
I think he'll go to the international break though.
I think he'll... That quote to me is he's not starting against Southampton.
No.
But
He is lowering expectations. Like you say, he's almost saying.
I beg he comes off the bench at least.
He knows that Casemiro's had like an awful performance today, and that everybody like us, any fan, are going to be saying, bloody hell, I can't wait to get this Ugarte into the team to replace Casemiro. So that's all that he's kind of deflecting there, isn't he? And
yeah.
I've got so much more I want to speak about. Time's going so quickly. Get a couple more super chats in, and then we'll carry on. So we have Zahuka says, "I'd rather challenge for the lead than win any small trophy. Midfield is wide open and relax creativity. Our attack is young players and MBE. Lee Cape Town says, I'm embarrassed. I'm living in Cape Town. It's either Liverpool or United and I'm fearing tomorrow. If you figure out our system, let me know. I'm tired. MEN says, I mean, we all have to go to work tomorrow and it's not
we
like...
could be here for weeks trying to get a conclusion on this one.
MEM says, our attack in general was poor, but how are the comments calling him the worst attacker when he created our only 2 clear chances? Ray Carl Brown Amory says, we never get the 3rd season of any manager before the sacking starts. I don't believe anymore. Even a new manager will still be here saying we should be sacking him. Vinny says, Erik Ten Hag worries me. Too many dodgy decisions. Watch No Face says, what really gets me is every game there are mitigating factors, i.e. no Ugarte for Casemiro, injuries, etc. But always big calls Erik Ten Hag clearly gets wrong. I think that's really an interesting point, to be honest. And it's like, it's like, there's having the patience and not wanting to do the same cycle, and then there's like blind faith where we just keep being poor. But let's talk about Marcus Rashford, because Jamie Carragher once again has said, you know, if Marcus Rashford's United's best attacker, they'll never basically win a major trophy. Do you agree with what Carragher's saying there?
I think Rashford's United's worst attacker, to be honest with you. I've not seen anything really from Rashford in the past 15 to 18 months, which, you know, it's just crazy because it seems madness that he keeps trying to play him. It's not even a case of you have to sell him and get rid of him. Just put him on the bench for a little bit. Like, just put him on the bench for 2-3 months and see if he can, you know, build that hunger and maybe, you know, give him a kick up the arse, basically. But I wouldn't... Garnacho was terrible today, and I think Garnacho was worse than Rashford, but from recent performances, there's no way I'd play Rashford over Garnacho, and there's no way I'd play anybody over Ahmad. So I don't see any argument for Rashford being in the team right now. And I said the same thing against Brighton when I said Rashford was starting. I was disappointed. Seeing Rashford starting today, I kind of expected it because it kind of just feels like a given that he starts against Liverpool and City. But I was disappointed because Ahmad's been shoved out of the team, and to be honest with you, like, I was losing patience with Rashford last season. But I came into this season with a little bit of hope that maybe, you know, he didn't go to the Euros with England. Maybe he's going to come back rejuvenated, and I was being positive about Marcus Rashford. But he's not paying me back at all. He's consistently United's worst player. I don't think he was the worst player today, but over the last 12 months, I think he's consistently the worst player on the pitch, and I think he's holding the team back.
I was going to say a penny for Ahmad's thoughts this evening, because we spoke about it in the build-up show, and I said I would have started Ahmad. You don't take him out, and I would have had Garnacho. Would not started Rashford, but as I said earlier, you know, player of the month, on great form. To have that then taken away from you, and then the humiliation of being 3-0 down against Liverpool, and then being brought on. You know, Ahmad comes onto the pitch. What minute was that? It was up near sort of 70 minutes. So in the 70th minute, within about 5 minutes, he's had more touches in the Liverpool box than any other United player on the pitch. And that tells you everything. He's direct. He had a shot that went over, fair enough, but at least he had an effort.
Direct is the key word. That is the key word. And even Garnacho does it a little bit, and Rashford's the worst for it, where they get the ball, and rather than just being cutthroat and running at a full-back, it's almost like, I hate using the word confidence, because to some degree, confidence has got to go out the equation. You can't just rely on confidence all the time, I feel like. But it's like they're too much in their own mind. Garnacho does it too, where it's like he doesn't quite know, rather than just being in that kind of flow state of just going with the flow and moving. And it's like they think about it too much, and by the time they're trying to make decisions, it's too late. They've got to pass backwards now. Yeah. And Ahmad's the only winger I see who seems to pick the ball up and straight away just go.
And you'd be fuming if you're Ahmad. I mean, if I was him, and I said before the build-up show, he's such an easy target just to take out. He strikes you as the kind of person who wouldn't react, you know, throw his toys out the pram and say, why am I not in the team? He should be. Tonight, if I was him, I'd be knocking on Ten Hag's door and saying, you know, I've been playing well. Why have I been left out today? And then you bring me on at 3-0. What do you want me to do? And he did this towards the end of last season with him.
And the thing with Ahmad is, I see Ahmad as being like, he's got the best qualities of Rashford and Garnacho together. I think he's got the confidence of Garnacho. I think Garnacho does have good confidence.
He's more the complete.
I think Garnacho is actually a bit too confident sometimes. I think sometimes he actually does too much when he should probably try to be a bit more composed with the ball. I think Ahmad has that, but he also has the decision making that Garnacho doesn't have. You know what I mean? Garnacho sometimes, like you said, he gets into the box and he cross it in just to hope that someone's there.
Too frantic.
He just crosses it in. If someone's at the ball, then they'll score. If not, then you know what I mean. Whereas on the other side, you look at Rashford. He doesn't have the confidence. He has the attributes. You know, he's got the pace. He's got quick feet and whatnot. He can get in behind, and sometimes he can beat his player. But it's like when he gets to the let's say he gets to the byline, or I say the old Rashford, I don't even know when the old Rashford even is anymore, 2020 or 2021. That Rashford would have probably taken on a couple of players and probably got a shot off, and he might go in, it might not. But that was the best quality or the best version of Rashford that we saw, and all of those pieces is what Ahmad has. Ahmad is literally that player where, like you said, in the first 5 minutes he's got the ball and he's gone straight at Robertson. He's gone straight into the box, and I think he lost the ball or whatever. But it's the fact that he's gone to take him on. He's had that confidence, and even in the Brighton game, that goal came from Ahmad picking up the ball, driving, taking on a couple of players, and then having a shot. I think it was deflected and it ended up going in anyway. But the fact that he's doing it and he's getting a shot off, Rashford and Garnacho, they're not doing that. They're making the wrong decision when they get to those places.
I think Ahmad embarrassed Ten Hag when he came on today. He should have started, and there's no excuse why he shouldn't have.
And that's what I want. It's from Ahmad's point of view, he's probably come on and thought, I've got a point to prove it. Now, he hasn't, but like you rightly say, he's actually made Ten Hag look absolutely ridiculous today.
But what would Rashford look like if he felt like he had a point to prove? Like you know what I mean? But for me, I'm going to be honest on the Rashford situation. I think the cup's full with it. And I think today people are going a little bit over the top. We were speaking about this before the fans forum, and people won't like me for saying this because I know people's cup's full with Rashford. But the fact of the matter is, Garnacho was not better than Rashford today.
No, Garnacho was terrible.
He wasn't. And yeah, Rashford, by the way, still wasn't as good as he should have been, like nowhere near it, especially considering
what are you trying to say, that more people will channel energy into Rashford's performance being bad?
Well, the thing about Rashford getting booed was madness.
People
Do you know what I mean?
expect more from Rashford because he's on 300 grand a week and he's because he's at the club for years and because we've seen how good he can be. The fact of the matter is, none of our attackers were good today. Xerxes was well poor in the second half. Sorry, not second half. Xerxes was really poor in the first half. Second half, he was a lot better. Garnacho, Robertson had him all game, let's be honest. He wasn't strong enough. And I'm a big Garnacho fan, but he wasn't good today. Rashford wasn't good today. What he did do after the substitution when Ahmad came on, and I maybe heard the boos, I don't know, he did put two good crosses into the box to Xerxes. Like, he did create 2 chances. And I've just looked, and he's actually created the most big chances in the Premier League so far. 4. I mean, it's not much, but
for United or just in general?
Just, I think for United.
Okay.
I think for United.
It's not saying much.
But the fact of the matter is like people are getting onto him so much, and rightfully so. He needs to be a lot better. But I think at this point, it's like people just, because it's now the thing to like go in on Rashford. People are doing that, but
it's an accumulation of frustration.
It's not just one player's fault.
Yeah, no, it's not. But I said before the game, the one thing that's really the major issue with Ten Hag that's really testing my patience is that Rashford just plays every single game.
That's the issue.
It just feels like every game at the end of the game. Not today. Not today. He wasn't the worst. There was so many players who were worse than Rashford today. But against Brighton, I thought he was shocking. I thought he was terrible. How can that performance against Brighton warrant a start today? Do you know what I mean?
But then
that's the frustration.
You look at the next game and who wants to start for that game? And what's going to happen is Rashford is probably going to start. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
He's probably going to start Ahmad. I hope he does anyway. And let's say Rashford has a bad game. I was going to say, why don't you start Garnacho? Well, because Garnacho had a bad game as well.
Yeah.
They both. I said before the game, I think Garnacho has shown a lot that he is dangerous coming off the bench. He genuinely is a bigger threat coming off the bench. I've seen the best Garnacho performances I've seen have been of him being a substitute. Yeah. Genuinely, man. He started so many games last season, and what happened was near the tail end of the season, he got a bit fatigued. Teams kind of figured him out a little bit, and he couldn't make as big of an impact. But like we've seen from this season, the Community Shield, the Brighton game and the Fulham game, him come to the bench has been a big threat. I would have rather seen him come to the bench and let Ahmad start.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And
should have been that way.
Should have been the other way around.
Do you know what it is? Garnacho and Rashford are quite similar profiles in terms they're both very direct, pacey wingers that can go at players, and we don't see that from Rashford anymore, to be honest with you. And if you look at all 3 of them wingers, I think Garnacho has been better than Rashford in recent times, over last season. And obviously, last season he was better than Rashford. But then the start of the season, he has been kind of used more of a sub. And I've been calling for him to start because I thought in the Community Shield he came on and he made an impact. The Fulham game came on and made an impact. And the Brighton game, same thing. We should have won 2-1 if it wasn't for Xerxes' knee. He has that excitement where he can make things happen. But this is where, again, I have question marks over Ten Hag because I'm not saying I'm right, but if we're seeing it, why aren't you seeing it? The fact of the matter is, you're against Liverpool. Which one of your wingers keeps hold of the ball the best? Ahmad. He's technically so good on the ball. Who's better to bring on when the game opens up a bit later on in the second half when you have more space and go in against tighter legs? Either a Rashford or a Garnacho, because they're both players that will take on their fullback. Rashford is known for that. He's not done it as much recently. And you're going to have more joy. Ahmad did it when he came on. But Ahmad, for me, he's the profile that you'd want to start because I think defensively he's solid. and you want to be solid within the first half against Liverpool. But also he keeps the ball really well and can play in tight spaces, which that's what the game is going to be in the first half. I didn't get the decision from Ten Hag to play both Rashford and Garnacho, who are similar profiles. For me, it was just like, oh, let's hope we get balls over the top on the counter attack. We're at Old Trafford. We need more than that. We need more than just, let's hope we can get some balls through over the top to Rashford and Garnacho in a game at Old Trafford. We need players that are going to be able to move the ball from back to front and consistently create chances. That's the position we're in the third year. Ahmad is one of them players.
You need a system, a pattern of play. You need to be sort of difficult to beat, difficult to break down. And at the minute, it is that thing of like friends, just getting your friends in, you know, and it really is favourites. It's things that have drove us mad as fans for ages. You know, any England fan will tell you what Gareth Southgate did, you know, having players in the squad that weren't even playing for the clubs, but just because he relied on them and that. And Ten Hag's going down a similar route. Like I said earlier, it's actually insanity because he's picking these players again and again, but they're not actually like repaying him. You know, he can't come off the pitch today and like tap one of them players, a Rashford or even a Garnacho, who I think did let him down today.
It's like a culture thing though.
He can't say, oh, thanks very much, you know, you give me everything there today, mate, nice one.
Solskjaer did the same thing.
Yeah, he worked for Solskjaer though. He did.
A little bit. I mean, there was time.
That was his best season.
I was thinking the season after when he went a bit off the rails, Rashford.
Well, that's his best season.
No, I'm saying when people were saying why is Rashford starting, and then obviously McTominay and Fred used to get it all the time as well, where people were accusing Solskjaer picking favourites because McTominay would start every game.
And on Rashford again, I'm sure there'll be people in the comment section or looking to clip stuff up again. This isn't being reactionary to one game because we've been beaten by Liverpool. I have to keep saying this. You know, on Rashford's performance, this has been, how many months did you say before?
I'd say 15 months.
Since the start of that season.
So it's not like a bad run of form, you know, where a player has a dip for about 3 or 4 games and then rightly so, you take them out, get the motivation back, bring them back in. Do you want to win your place in the team? This has been going on like for well over a season. You know, we're watching this every week and the question is, we're asking, is does he deserve to be constantly getting picked? He's not getting picked on merit for performances.
100%. And I think the thing with Garnacho, which I think a lot of people, this is the reason why they prefer Garnacho over Rashford, even though they both might not have had the best performances, I still feel like Garnacho puts in 100%, even to the end of the game. I feel like there's even times, today, like there was times later in the game where Garnacho's still running, he's still tracking back, he's still trying to win the ball back if he loses it. With Rashford, it's like once his head goes down, not to the end of the game, because obviously you got brought off, but for the whole 60, 70 minutes that he played, he was still putting in that effort to try and win, you know, show that energy, show a bit of tenacity, show a bit of courage to try and actually get the ball back and make something happen. But it's like with Rashford, once his head goes down, once we concede 1 goal, concede 2 goals, and let's be honest, like the fans are not, they don't make it easy for Rashford, I'll be honest. Like where I was sat in the stands, every time he touched the ball, Rashford, you this, you that, and it's like, even like when Garnacho got brought off, straight boos all around the stadium. How can you expect a player to play well when his own fans are doing it? Like, I'm not even trying to give him a scapegoat, but like I see why Garnacho kind of has a bit more confidence later on in the game because fans actually want Garnacho to play well, whereas there's a lot of negative energy around Rashford in the stadium.
That was happening last season as well.
Yeah.
But the manager should take a little bit of responsibility, I think, and put him on the bench for a little bit. Let him play his way into form that way, the way Garnacho, like you were saying with Garnacho coming off the bench. Garnacho coming off the bench was adding to my Ten Hag Rashford frustration because Garnacho came off the bench against City and scored. He came off the bench against Fulham and got an assist. Rashford in that Fulham game was no good. He was no good in the Brighton game, and that's where you're thinking, well, you've got Garnacho coming off the bench, getting 20 minutes a game. And he's providing a goal or an assist when he's coming on for 20 minutes. That's where my frustration was like, play Garnacho there and let Rashford be on the bench for a little bit and maybe Rashford can start coming on and chipping in. Rashford probably needs some goals, right? Rashford probably just needs a couple. He probably just needs a couple goals to get himself, do you know what I mean? Get the fire burning. It might be better for him to come off the bench with 20 minutes ago when the game's more wide open. Just for him to run at a tired fullback, get a couple scrappy goals, and maybe that's all he needs to kind of get himself going again.
Even a couple of assists. I mean, people are obviously going to talk about the 2 crosses that he did for Xerxes today. And look, I watched them back in it, and I think one of them was harsh. One of them looked like I think the header, was a really good save. The other one was a difficult chance. It was a great cross. Let me not get it wrong. It was a great cross.
Both balls were.
Both of them were great crosses. I think that's also another thing that people kind of they look at Rashford for that I don't think I've seen Garnacho actually do. That kind of cross where it's a bit deeper down. Garnacho mainly when he crosses the ball, he's probably in and around the box anyway. So it's probably like a squaring it across the 6-yard box or something like that. Whereas Rashford can get the ball a bit deeper and find a cross. He's done that to Højlund a lot of times that season where he'll get it, he'll bring it, like, or even like the FA Cup final where he's completely switched it to Garnacho, open up the pitch. Garnacho's not making that pass. He doesn't even try it, let's be honest. And I think that's one of the attributes that maybe if he added a bit more of that into his game, people wouldn't get onto him so much, because if he did those 2 crosses early on in the game, it probably would have been a different game. But it's like, the last 15 minutes, and that's when he gets the two best chances. That's
what I was thinking. It's like, when it's like, panic stations, they're like the 2 best chances. What a shock horror, we put some crosses into a box when we actually have a striker playing, and oh wow, we create some chances. It's like, even though I did think Xerxes looked a bit out of his depth in that first half, we were providing him with next to nothing. I mean, Bruno, to be fair, put a few passes into him, which we probably should have had a better touch on. It's like the second half, Alisson makes a great save for that header, and it's a good cross in by Rashford. Our wingers need to be getting more crosses in. That should be happening all game, every game. I know against Liverpool, maybe you don't get as many in because it is a tougher game, but you're playing with a centre forward now, so why don't we get the best out of his attributes? And he is a big guy that can get onto the end of crosses. It's like, I always say this, the best managers highlight their players' strengths and they cover up their weaknesses. Casemiro's weaknesses are being highlighted and his strengths for me are being minimised. And it's like, this is now starting to happen with a lot of our players. The only player that I look at and think, wow, they have actually really, come on leaps and bounds under Erik ten Hag is Dalot.
He's a player that is capable of getting down the line and putting a cross in. But I mean, you could say how many times have we had debates about wingers? Ricky loves that debate, doesn't he? Or lack of wingers, the ones that are going to literally run down the wing and cross a ball into a box. So many times it breaks down. Whoever it is, Rashford, Garnacho, Antony, all similar kind of players want to try and cut in. They get confused. They make the wrong decision at the wrong time. And there was. Don't forget, last season when Højlund was playing, to an extent that it was like a bit of a running joke that do his teammates actually know that he was in the team? How many times was Højlund in the right place, pointing, and never got the ball?
That's another great example. Højlund is a player that's great, running in behind, making them runs. And
no point doing it if you're not going to get the ball.
But we didn't play like that.
Yeah.
We were asking him to be a target man, to hold up the ball and bully defenders. That's not his game.
No. I think that's more Xerxes' game.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So it's like, why? it just feels like we're not getting the best out of our players' strengths, and we're not covering up the weaknesses enough. And I actually, for what it's worth, think that we've got talent in that squad. I really do.
No, we definitely do.
And I just think it's being misused.
I'm excited to see Yoro. I keep forgetting about him. Hopefully, when he's fully fit and back. But Højlund's the main one. I'm not using
Yoro
it as an
could
excuse.
be the next coming of Sergio Ramos. We need a better system.
Yeah.
De Ligt was, for me, second goal maybe could have done better, but altogether was really smooth today. And again, we're still conceding goals and whatever. Got some more super chats to bring in here. Sean Turner says, the fact of the matter is Ten Hag has had enough time now, got his own players in and nothing has changed. Time's up now, we need to change. If it's Ruud or a new manager, just change it before the season gets away from us. That is the question that a lot of people have as well. And, I'm showing my frustration with Ten Hag. I'm not saying to sack him, but I'm just showing, at the moment, I'm frustrated. I don't think we should rush into any decisions.
I don't think you're the only person. I think a lot of people will have changed their opinion this evening. Not necessarily get this guy out of the club.
No, it's not that.
But I think they've lost a little bit of faith in him.
Well, it's that question mark where people don't want to write off a season and they don't want it to be too late. And it's like, where do you draw the line? We want to give him a chance under this new structure. But when things are going wrong and to this extent, there is that question mark of when will it be too late?
But, I was going to say, I get what you're saying, but you can't give a manager 5 new signings and sack him.
I was about to say, you can't spend 200 million quid and then write the season off. It's just...
No, you've got to give him... We were saying before we went on air, do you reckon October they'll be like... Fine. It gets to October and it's like, are we going to give this guy more time or is it looking a bit shaky? I don't think we should rush into any decisions. Yeah. Adbury Diham Man says, Tull, don't you think playing more possessive and more compact was appropriate against Liverpool, pressing and give Casemiro and Mino more support?
Yeah, probably. But our players don't keep the ball, mate. So, you know.
United one says, enough with the Cassie talk. Play Collier next to him and Mainu in the midfield. Bruno is false nine. Xerxes look off the pace. Start Ahmad, Nacho off the bench. We can't just play Bruno false nine all season. I'm sorry, we can't. We've got two strikers.
Collier's out of depth as well, so.
Anthony Tracy says, Mount, Ahmad and Ugarte with the positives today. Mount didn't play. Did Ugarte? And yeah, okay.
Joy, today probably highlighted what Mount does, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Akil says, I'd make Casemiro play only in the Europa League. That Collier kid should be above him when Ugarte plays. Pick the right 11. I'm tired of this favouritism. Wilson says, losing is okay. Picking the wrong team. Bad subs. Live fans cheering are bad subs. Walked out of the pub feeling embarrassed. Collier and Mainu were the only pluses. God save Erik ten Hag. Needs to get it right. Rashford was bad. Thomas McArdle, something has to change. Kaz Mofo says, lady and gents, United are just poor, unfortunately. World-class players but can't show their qualities. Ten Hag lacks confidence too. Sunak says, we seriously lack a ball-playing midfielder. Kamal says, Casemiro, Rashford and Garnacho should be sold. Traore should be brought in. And we should give Kep Scott. Could bring Amrabat with Ugarte. Now bring Rabiot. That's in dreamland, mate. And I don't think we should be selling Rashford or Garnacho right now. And there's decisions to be made on Rashford maybe next season. But, you know, we've got the squad we have and we've got to deal with that in this season. Robert McCormack says, only compact when Mount's been on. Yeah, we've sort of spoken about that. It's a really good point. Relevant says, Ten Hag doesn't have a style of play. The way he coaches at Ajax to stop opponents' weaknesses, then design a plan for it on a game day, which means the team are never settled. It does feel like every game it's a different.
We never take a game
approach.
to someone.
It's like we don't have our distinct style every single game. It's like every game it's different, but at the same time it's different shades of.
It's like we need to
shades of brown.
Concede a goal to get a reaction, don't we? That seems to be the United way of recent years.
Wilson says Rabiot on 2+1 is a must. Don't care how much we pay him. We can't afford to rely on Casemiro. I absolutely think we should be snapping Rabiot up, by the way, on a free transfer, 100%. Thomas McArdle says, our midfield is so thin. Thomas McArdle says, -4 goals in 3 games and 3 points. Keel Robinson says, Amrabat and Rabiot was a no-brainer. It's so obvious. Shenanigan says, United have missed 9 big chances, the most of any club. Ray Carl says, never start the season good. Etam says, Bruno and Kobe have a symbiotic relationship. If the number 8 is overburdened with defensive duties, it weakens the entire midfield. Ollie says, I won't be surprised if Ten Hag is going to start Casemiro and Ugarte and bench Mainu. Can't do that. Chiesa, LFC, can't bench Mainu anyway. You could play them 2 to go, but you can't bench Mainu. Chiesa, LFC says, hi, will Manchester United win the Championship next year? Take a wild guess. No. LMP says, I'm seeing a lot more improvement in patterns of play. We can't beat Liverpool and City playing terrible and complain, then the opposite happens and we moan too. To learn a new way of play takes pain. Enrique says, please read Ten Hag's book. His principles are defensive. He's not the total football coach he's thought to be. Deep line and a fast transition in his style. Is his style, so a deep line and fast transition. Yeah, we are playing a deep line and we're trying to transition, but the problem is when we're pressing, the gap's absolutely massive. So it's just not going to work. It's just not. And then Sunak says, how are we not finishing chances? We should have brought Ivan Toney. There's so many more super chats coming in. I'll just have to leave it for a little bit. Sir Hawk says, I almost miss Anthony.
Nah.
Wow. We've got more super chats coming in, but we'll get to them right at the end of the show. I want to talk about maybe something a little bit more positive next. De Ligt today. Let's talk about all 3 signings. De Ligt, Mazraoui and Xerxes all started. Yeah. Kev, De Ligt, for you, how would you sum up his performance?
Very good, considering first start for Manchester United. I thought he was solid, regardless of what Graham Souness said a few weeks ago that apparently he's lightweight. I thought he's the absolute opposite of lightweight, if anything, if you're going to describe De Ligt. I thought he was really, really good. He looked very settled, not shaky. I did say before this game that I wanted him to start over Harry Maguire. He did, so I was happy with that. And yeah, I think I can't think of any kind of faults or any time that he gave the ball away and put us under pressure. Yes, for one of the goals, he possibly could have done a bit more with Diaz's header, but again,
that's
I know that's what I was going to. That's not me saying it, but I know some people will be like, he might have been able to look over, you know.
That goal,
that
to be honest, you could stick that on anyone. You could say it's Casemiro's fault for giving the ball away.
Yeah.
Or you could say it's De Ligt's fault for not checking his shoulder. Or you could say it's Onana's fault for not commanding his box. You could stick that on anyone, really. It's just an accumulation. Realistically, I think most of it comes down to Casemiro, because you've got Mazraoui at the other end of the pitch, not expecting Casemiro to give the ball away in such a simple situation. Yeah. So,
but overall, I thought it was a great game for De Ligt. And him and Martinez look a good pairing. They kind of complement each other very well.
Yeah, I think him and Mazraoui had a good game. I think Dalot probably had the best game out of all the defenders. Not even necessarily just defensively, but going forward. He's still impressing me how good he is going forward. Like his first touch, he's so composed in the middle of the pitch for a fullback. That's insane. Like we don't actually see that a lot. A lot of fullbacks are good at crossing the ball or getting up and down the line. He can genuinely come into the midfield and play. Those times I was watching,
that's where Wan-Bissaka struggled, wasn't it?
He struggled everywhere going forward.
Defensively, he was sound.
But there's times where I'm watching the game and I'm thinking, wait, where's Dalot? And I'm watching him. He's literally right in the middle of the pitch, because he can pick up the ball anywhere in and around that area and find a passer. And like I said, he's press resistant. He can pick out a through ball or whatnot. So I think Dalot I know he's not one of the signings, but I think he's probably the most impressive defender today, in my opinion. But De Ligt, for his first start, was amazing. I thought it was a great first start.
Yeah.
I thought it was really smooth, really quick, and there was a point where it was like really close to where I was sat, and Jota had the ball and he was moving so quickly, and he poked a toe in, and I was like, wow, that was brilliant defending him. He cleaned up a lot of stuff. I think De Ligt was good today, and it's like I was looking at the defence, and overall, like, we conceded 3 goals, but I think the defence was good, and that's a weird position to be in.
Yeah, they were clinical.
Like, Martinez was decent. De Ligt was good, in my opinion. Mazraoui was decent. Thought Dalot was exceptional. People say, well, Salah had 2 assists, or he had an assist and scored a goal. I don't even know at this point. But Dalot, for me, like, he just keeps getting better and better. The way he can take the ball, his first touch, the way he can glide through a midfield, the way he can just glide past players. He was doing Rashford's job for him at times, honestly. Like, I think he's got a better success rate of taking on players.
I was going to say, he'd probably be our best left winger.
He would be. He takes on players better than our wingers do at times. Yeah. Like, and a Liverpool fan actually messaged me during the game saying Dalot's so underrated. He's one of the best fullbacks in the league, in my opinion.
And let's not forget, he's playing left back. You know, his preferred position is right back. So he's actually covering over there and playing, like you wouldn't even know, would you? You wouldn't look and go, oh, he usually plays on the right-hand side, he looks uncomfortable on the left. He looks equally as comfortable, and having a versatile player like that is, Dennis Irwin could play left and right back. You couldn't tell, what was his best side. He was versatile like that. Yeah,
there's no glaring weakness to his game, really. No. If you think about it, he's tall, he's strong, he's fast, he's good on the ball, he can play left and right. Like, realistically, he's probably as like an all-round he's probably as all-round as you're going to get for a fullback. I think Luke Shaw's pretty similar. It's just a shame that he's never fit, ever.
And Salah was superb, and I think he managed him pretty well throughout the whole game. I know Salah did end up getting joy, but sometimes you can't necessarily just blame the fullback for that. I'd have to watch it back, to be honest with you, but I didn't see Dalot make any glaring mistakes. Nope. I think he's so important in our build-up play, which, to be honest, he's probably the only one that can actually. He's our ball-playing midfielder, genuinely. He can actually get into the midfield and make space to play them balls through the lines. I mean, Mainu does it as well, but Dalot,
remember for me, Cancelo at City? Yeah. Remember when it was like revolutionary? We were watching him go from that sort of fullback role, and then he moved into the midfield at City, and you always had him in your FPL team, didn't you, Cancelo? Because he was technically like a midfielder, kind of defender. But Dalot reminds me a bit of that now, because we have seen Ten Hag try to implement that, where Dalot pushes in, the midfield, then becomes like a 5 or whatever. And he's great to have, but it's hilarious at the same time, like you say, to think that on the left-hand side he's probably, the best left sort of winger we've got at the club. Never mind left sort of left back or right back.
I think he's someone who didn't deserve to be on the losing team today. I see him as a future captain. He's only 25.
He's the most improved player over the last couple of years, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's a positive.
He's come on leaps and bounds.
That's a positive I can take. I think he was someone that I thought, you know what, you don't deserve to be on the losing side today. And that's in a game where we lose 3-0 in the way that we did. I think that's maybe a compliment to him. But yeah, so that's a positive we can bring up. I mean, by the way, people talking about super chats, there's so many coming in, it's really hard to read them all out, but I will try and do it before the end of the show at some point. At the end, I'll definitely just go through some, and there's loads popping up, so I am trying my best. I wanted to quickly talk about, because we've got a balance with the show as well, Andre Onana today. Thoughts on his performance, guys? Getting a lot of stick.
I don't understand how we signed what we're going to call him, a ball-playing goalkeeper. That's what we're calling him, and he can't play the ball. Like it makes no sense how. I'm pretty sure one of his passes was one of the causes for one of the goals. I feel like, there was a chance anyway that came because
he definitely created a chance for them.
Yeah, literally, and it's even like there's times where, cause where I was sat anyway, like I was sat like right behind the goalkeeper. So you can see like when the pitch is that's fully spread, and there's times where Dallow's super wide or Mazraoui's super wide. It's like they're both free. And I'm thinking like you can pick out a pass here, or you can probably pick out one of the wingers, and we could be through and goal. And it's like every time he does pick it out, it's just off, and then we give away possession, or he just doesn't look to them and he tries to give it, I don't know, to De Ligt or to Martin, and it's like we didn't bring you to make 10-yard passes, you know what I mean? We brought you in the team, Ten Hag brought you in the team to make those passes that can open up like the defence or open up and pass the ball into midfield. But I don't know, it's like he's getting worse at it. I feel like there's a point last season where he was actually really good, but now it's like he's lost that ability.
I've just seen another quote from Ten Hag that I can't quite believe. So Ten Hag has said he got asked whether there's a coaching issue at the moment. He got asked if the coaching is the issue with Manchester United, and he said, "Are you sure? I don't think so, or you wouldn't win trophies like we did and beat big opponents. I'm sorry for you. After Man City, we won the most trophies. I'm sorry for you."
He said that today?
Yeah. So again, he's talking about these trophies, and I get it. He's proud of these trophies, and we did do well to win them games, but the Premier League is the main thing that everybody wants to see us do well in. He can't keep covering that up.
He's carrying on like he's Mourinho. You know, fair enough when Mourinho come out and said, "I'm the special one." He'd won a Champions League and stuff like that, and he'd been there and done it. Well, I'm not disrespecting the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. We had great days when we won them, but you can't keep referring to this, that we win trophies and we do this and that, when every supporter, we just want to be competitive in the Premier League. We want to get back to competing, for the main honour in English football. We want to get back into the Champions League where we kind of feel that we belong, but we don't belong there. You need to work hard to get into it.
On a dead serious note, I would love someone to straight up ask the question, do you think we're better than Arsenal? Imagine what he'd say.
He'd probably say, yeah.
Well, yeah, and then that's just complete delusion if that's the case. And it's like you said on the build-up show, what happens if, he does get the whole season and he doesn't win a trophy?
He's putting himself in the mud. I said this before, like you said in there, I literally on the build-up show, if you keep talking about trophies every single time someone questions your performances, what are you going to do when we finish 5th and we don't win a trophy? Are you going to say that I deserve to keep my job?
We won the San Diego trophy against
in pre-season.
In pre-season.
He can't say I should keep my job because you've not done what you spoke all season that you're the best at doing, winning trophies, but you didn't do it. It makes no sense. So you have to take pride in having good performances. We do want to win trophies, and you can win trophies by having good performances as well, but that should be your main focus. Your main focus should be playing well. Arsenal, now obviously I know it's United stand, but let's be honest, Arsenal, the second best team in the league. They didn't win the title, but they're second, or some people might even argue that they're probably the best player, might be the best team in the league. They've not won a trophy in 4 years, something like that. But let's be honest, their fan base is a lot happier than we are, because they know in the next...
They're watching good football every week.
They're watching good football. Not only that, but they know that they can actually compete for the big trophies every single season. You want to do that. They probably, if it wasn't for them bottling it, they probably might have had a Premier League. Or if it wasn't for City being so good anyway, they might have had a Premier League already in the last 2 years. But let's be honest, in the next 3 to 5 years, if they keep on going in this trajectory, they're going to be competing every single year for a Premier League, and they might win one. They might even win a Champions League. You never know. We're going to be sat here thinking, if we don't win a Carabao Cup, this is a bad season. You know how that's the levels that we're working with. And maybe Ten Hag doesn't even have that kind of high expectations that we have as fans. As United fans, let's be honest, we go into every season thinking, a Premier League would be great. Even though we're not supposed to, we think, a Premier League is what we actually want. Even though we're not competing, we do want a Premier League. It's like he doesn't think like that. It's like he just thinks, you know what, just get me any silverware. It could be a Community Shield and I'm happy with it, which is poor expectations in my opinion.
Yeah.
I hope no one steals this, but if we get into the press conference in the Europa League games, which we're hoping to do, I'm generally, if I get the opportunity to ask him a question, I'm going to ask, and I don't think this is out of pocket, I'm going to say, Mr. Erik Ten Hag, you've spoken about how important the trophies are that you've won at Manchester United. Would you then say that Manchester United are a better team than Arsenal because they haven't won any trophies and you have? See what he says to that. He can't physically say that.
See, we could banter Arsenal fans last season. I know it was a question as well, but you'd go, well, what did Arsenal didn't win anything? We won an FA Cup. Look, but we know every week, we're watching this. It wasn't great last season. Yes, we nearly got knocked out of the FA Cup.
Like
Newport, Coventry, and finally we turned up for one day against Manchester City, which was great. It was a great day. But to be competitive in the Premier League, and I bet there's a lot of people predicting Arsenal to win the Premier League this season as well. That tells you everything. You know what? I'd rather be in that boat at the minute where, we're up there challenging with the likes of City, Liverpool, Arsenal, whatever it is. But
Ten Hag speaking like a fan. Like, the way we speaking is how we should be speaking. Like,
He's trying to rattle.
Yeah, he's trying to rattle Arsenal and rattle Liverpool. Like, we won a trophy, you didn't. Like, that's what we're supposed to be doing as
job,
fans.
yeah.
Like, our job is to get onto other fans because we won a trophy and they didn't.
That's what Twitter's for.
You as a manager, you shouldn't even be you shouldn't even be thinking about what other teams are doing. Like, if you're not playing well, your main focus should be my club. The team that I'm managing, the team that I'm coaching, has to be the best team in the world. That should be his mentality. We want to be the best team in the world. Not we won a trophy and Arsenal didn't, so we're better than them.
Do at the end of the day, like, we should be winning trophies and playing well in the league. That's what United is.
Yeah.
We can't just be one or the other. Like, we have to be doing well in both. And I don't want to disrespect Erik Ten Hag because the fact of the matter is, before he came in, we hadn't won a trophy since Mourinho. It had been 6 years.
Yes, we broke that cycle.
Carabao Cup was great. Winning against Man City in the FA Cup, he beat Liverpool and he beat City to win that FA Cup. Credit to you. Genuinely, nobody thought we were going to win. I had an amazing day. One of the best days. Genuinely, both of them games. But also at the same time, there's a point where we have to say, we have to play better on a regular basis. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah.
We have to play better on a regular basis. And yeah, we can banter Arsenal all we like for not winning trophies, but if anything happens to Man City, point deductions, if Pep Guardiola leaves, they're in a perfect position to win Premier League titles. Liverpool might compete for the Premier League title this year. No. And it's like, we're nowhere near in that position, and that's what's upsetting, to be honest.
That's nowhere near it.
And I genuinely thought coming into this season that we were going to be, not competing for the Premier League, but I thought we were going to be a lot better, because I had backed Ten Hag through so much and wanted him to do so well. And, we are only 3 games into the season. It's just worrying signs, that's the issue.
That's the thing with me as well. And I've been on here, I've said give him time, and again, I will give him time. Of course I will this season. I don't want it to be a knee-jerk reaction to, a horrible game against Liverpool. I can't wait to get out of the studio and just go home and lock myself in a room because I don't even want to look at my phone. But it's certainly not just on one game. It's the bigger picture. But you must. These players that come in now, he really needs them to hit the ground running, especially Ugarte, especially Casemiro. The drop-off has just been ridiculous, really alarming, but we'll have to see. We have to give him a bit more time, but at this moment in time, it's not looking good. It really isn't. I just can't see any light through the trees or whatever it is. I always try to remain positive, but at this moment in time, I'm looking and I can't really think of many positives. And at the same time, the team aren't giving me anything back. Ten Hag keeps making stupid decisions that I'm not on board with. So why should I be getting behind that when I don't agree with it? But we'll see, won't we?
I mean, let's read some more super chats out. 1 second. Let me get them up before we go into the last little bit of the show.
Been bombarded with super chats.
Yeah, so many. Thank you guys for your contributions. I know a lot of people want to get stuff off the chest. SG says Bruno has been terrible so far. He got his new deal for his past, not for what he can offer in the future. He is used to these results/performances. I mean, everyone's entitled to an opinion, but if there's Bruno Fernandes is not the character that gets a new contract and gives up. He'll give everything for United. He's not playing well.
No.
He's not, and you can say that. But also, again, like I said before, I don't think he's being played in the correct position. Brendan Savoy says, I don't understand what Ten Hag is trying. I can't see what he's trying. He's making it difficult to believe in him, and why Rashford all the time. Daniel says, I genuinely can't wait for Ugarte to start playing. Casemiro does my head in. You might be waiting weeks or months, mate. Kia says, what happened to my earlier super chat? I've tried to read every super chat that's come up. I don't know if it's just not come up on the screen. Hopefully it will come out on the screen anyway, because we are putting them all on the screen too. Maro Barbosa says, if anyone is interested, I commented on the United Stand post that we are burning Mainu out. Bypass United's attack. There's only 3 defenders. Why? Barney says, wingers should be getting more crosses in. Can't remember the last time I saw Garnacho putting a cross in. Probably when Xerxes scored that header against Fulham, mate. Like, he does put crosses in. We just need to put them in more often. Usa says, give him this season. If he doesn't get top 4 or 6 with better performances, he has to go. Has Mark completed his coaching badges? If Gary can, why not him? Nicholas says, at least Neville had the balls to retire. I wonder what Casemiro was thinking.
I said that to you earlier, didn't I? About reminding me of Gary Neville at, I think it was West Brom, when he said to Fergie at half time, I'm done here, man. He was getting cooked out on the wing, and he said he knew his legs had gone, and it's sad, but that's, to me today, that's what it looked like for Casemiro.
Kaya says, people forgetting before the start of the season there was a rumour saying that Ineos were not expecting top 4. I believe Ineos said that with our new transfers in mind, not before. Sir Hawk, I've done that one. MEM says, if Saka played for us, he would suffer. Issue is bigger than Rashford. Our attack set up is poor since Erik Ten Hag first year. We can't even counter like we did under Ole. I partially agree with that. Salah Ahmed says, Garnacho plays best on the left. That would mean to drop Rashford. So Jay said, what's worse is this might not be our biggest loss. King Solomon says, this game needed 2 holding midfielders. We frustrated Liverpool last year with 2 holding midfielders. Ten Hag is using one system fits all. That's true, to be fair. Amrabat was used last year, wasn't he? Hank Bayer says, Ten is a manager with a long-term view. Last season United had an injury crisis, so he does not want a repeat of last season, so I understand protecting De Ligt, Ugarte, Garnacho and Xerxes. JW says, Ten Hag is more Graham Potter than Harry Potter. Barney says, I miss when fans used to encourage players instead of booing and putting players down. Excuse me, at half-time when we were 2-0 down, United Stretford End, I was in there, clapped the players off and cheered them off. So, you know, but fans are going to get frustrated, especially when you're seeing rubbish week after week. Daniel says Garnacho wasn't playing in his best position. Nicholas says Rashford has 2 assists if Xerxes could finish. Kia, this might be the earlier super chat that you said I missed. You saw Liverpool being dangerous on every attack, but United had no clue what to do. Is it really that difficult to play football? Are we complicating things too much? Liverpool players aren't wizards. Kirk Stevens says, the thing is, if Erik Ten Hag goes, it's the same cycle. Next manager left with other managers' signings to get results. Barney says, how have we ended up talking about Rashford like this result was his fault? We're just talking about different players. No one on this panel has said the result is Rashford's fault. No one has. I
told him.
And Ray says, agree with Ten Hag on Ugarte. I knew this fan base. If Ugarte would pull a shocker, would be shut down fast. I think he means we need to be patient with Ugarte, but to be honest, I think we need anything we can get right now. And Naeem Rashid says, can you please bring back the call-in show? We definitely want to, 100%. Yeah. We are working on that. And Chef says, Luke Dutch asked if Man United is turning up. It's clearly a Liverpool fan. Please leave. Oh, it's so annoying. We didn't get off the bus today, did we? I mean, last but not least, worrying thing for me is we don't look like we can score goals under Erik Ten Hag. Is there any ways that you guys would address that?
Yeah. One thing, I heard a couple of super chats talk about this, about Garnacho not being in his best position. I don't even agree. I feel like he played right wing for most of last season, and that's when people actually impressed with him. In fact, the times when he's come off the bench this season and people have been impressed with him was off the right again. And even last season, the FA Cup, he played on the right and he had a good game. So this whole Garnacho, he played on the left, do you think he's going to score 50 goals in a season because if he plays on the left? I don't think that's going to be a huge difference. I don't think if he played on the left today, it would have made a huge difference because his performances still would have been the same. I think, and I said this as well before on the build-up show, that and he didn't, but if Garnacho was to have a good performance on the right, I feel like that kind of creates a little bit of a problem with Ten Hag, because now he has two players which he's seen play on the right, him and Ahmad obviously, play on the right consistently or regularly now, and both have good performances. So now it's like there's a bit of a competition on that right wing, whereas he's going to have to either make that decision and swap Garnacho on the left and hope that he can give the same output, which I don't think he can, because I think it's a different position for him. He's naturally right-footed, but he can obviously play with his left a little bit. But it's going to mean that Garnacho's going to have to change up his game a little bit if he had to play on the left. So I think, me personally, I think the best position's on the right, which means that the left position is kind of, it's just isolated now, because if it's not Rashford, who is it?
I mean, it's something that massively needs addressing under Erik ten Hag, the goal scoring issue. I mean,
having a goal scorer in the team would help.
It would, but
I don't even think Xerxes, like I said this before as well, like does Xerxes want to score sometimes? Because I feel a lot of times like he likes playing like on the edge of the box or around the box.
He's like a
but in the middle, it's like he's not fighting to get that last ball. He's not fighting to be in the box when Rashford or Garnacho or Ahmad are running and down the wing. He's not that kind of striker to be like, I'm going to get on the end of every single cross. Whereas
to be fair,
Højlund more is that kind of striker.
He was there for Rashford's both crosses. He just
I was like right at the end of the game, and he wasn't doing that before that. I think he's way better at linking up play than he is at trying to actually get a goal.
I understand what you're trying to say. Rather than trying to play off of a centre-back and trying to cause a havoc in the box, he's kind of trying to be a bit more smart, maybe too smart about it, and he's waiting late and kind of just hovering around. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I think it's both. The thing is with Xerxes, I do agree first half he could have done more to be in and around the box, and I do think some of his touches weren't the best, but second half I think he looked a lot more lively. I think he got in some good positions, and remember that game against Fulham, like that was a good anticipation from him in the box there to get on the end of that cross from Garnacho. I think with Xerxes there's talent there. It just, again, it's patience, and it's one where we're going to have to wait. And United, are we in a position where we have to wait? I think with all the new young signings we've brought in, it's going to have to be. It's a rebuild, isn't it? So I think Xerxes just needs some time, to be honest with you. But it's just people say, have United got time? And should we have brought in someone who's proven to go alongside Højlund, who is the player that also needs time? But I think both Højlund and Xerxes, the good thing about both of them is they both offer different things, and hopefully they'll both work out in the future. But again, it's just hoping.
But then that means we don't have a main goal scorer.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you need that, let's be honest.
Again.
Yeah.
We've been saying this since Ronaldo left.
I mean,
which is nearly 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even going to go into it. To be honest, I'm not even going to say what I thought I was going to say, because it's just like...
Go on, say it.
I mean, I was saying all throughout the window we should have got a proven goal scorer.
Ivan Toney.
When Harry Kane...
He's up on a high horse.
When Harry Kane was available, I said we should have gone and got Harry Kane, but everyone was like, no, he's too old.
I wanted Kane really badly.
It's like we've neglected this for a long time.
And what's Ivan Toney just gone for?
35 million quid, I think.
400 grand a week's not bad, is it?
I'll take it.
Yeah, any day of the week.
Like, anyway. It's frustrating, and we've neglected getting an out-and-out goal scorer for a long time. Don't get me wrong, I'm super excited about Højlund, but he's still young. He's still a young player. We should have got Kane, and then we should have a bit more experienced. We should have got Toney this year. I'm not saying we shouldn't have got Højlund. That summer, ideally, United would have been in a position where they could have got Kane and Højlund. That would have been the ideal. Yeah. Then, when we missed out on Kane, we should have got someone experienced to go alongside Højlund this year, such as an Ivan Toney. But this is where we're at. I'm not putting Xerxes down, by the way. I want him to do well, and I think the lad's got talent. I really do.
You're kind of making the point that we needed somebody who was going to walk into that team, and we didn't need a season under his belt, or somebody that, especially like you say, Harry Kane, who knew the Premier League inside out, would have walked into that team, knows what to do and score goals.
We probably will get Kane when he's 35 and dead and buried, and we'll give him 500 grand a week.
Not under the new structure.
That's not happening anymore. Them days are over.
Not under the new structure, Till. Not under the new structure. I mean, got a couple more super chats coming in here. Anthony Tracy says we're in a rebuild. Don't need any 250k plus a week players. So, I mean, if they're worth it. If you're worth it.
Oh, yeah.
Samir Sangi saying, thoughts on Garnacho sub? Good the fans booed, was not playing in his right position. Why is Rashford performing so poorly? Is it a mentality thing? I mean, we've already talked about that, so if you rewind on the show, you'll be able to hear it. But last but not least, before we wrap up the show, the last thing I wanted to ask you all is thoughts on how we handle Ten Hag this season. I mean, it is super early days, but there are some worrying signs. Are you like, we've got to give him the full season no matter what to see what you can do with his new signings? Is it, should we assess it Christmas? Or are you happy with it? Like, no one's happy with it. But
I was going to say, do I look happy?
Where are we at? Kev, I'll come to you first on this, because I know you were like me. We wanted him to do so well, and it is only early days, so you don't want to rush into something and then regret saying it. But like, where are you at on Ten Hag's future? What do you think should happen?
My personal opinion is that Ineos will. I wouldn't be. So I'm not saying there'll be a review. But, you know, they were all at Old Trafford today, Barada, Wilcox, Brailsford, Ratcliffe, and, you know, they can see it with their own eyes. Now, this is what I said earlier, when the tide of support starts kind of declining and you've got fans that are booing and that, it isn't a great look. Saying that, I would expect the review to be maybe around Christmas time, but it all goes off results, doesn't it? I mean, if United, let's just say worst case scenario, were to go on and lose the next 3 or 4 games, he's gone. He's not going to get till Christmas. I don't care what you say. It doesn't matter whether Kev sits on the United stand and says, oh, give Erik Ten Hag, you know, a bit longer, let him work under the new regime or whatever. It's not going to happen. United will literally be in a relegation fight if we're not winning games in 3 or 4 games. We've got 3 points out of 9. I'm just saying, worst case scenario, if they will push the panic button without a shadow of a doubt. I don't think they were ever overly sort of enthusiastic about Erik Ten Hag. I think we were spoon-fed this thing that he'd been given this new contract. It wasn't. They just activated an extra year, and they'll be ruthless. You've seen how they've shipped players out of this club. They'll do the same with a manager, and I'm sure that they'll have a succession plan as well.
I also think the recruitments this summer were based off not just what Ten Hag needs. I think just overall, you know, Yoro, Young, Xerxes, Young, Ugarte, they described him as one of the best up-and-coming DMs in world football. I don't think it's anyone that Ten Hag's gone, go and get me this player now, I need him for my system, like an Anthony was, which obviously didn't work out. Like a Martinez was, even though it did work out. Yep. But I think the recruitment is based to fit if someone else
or a future manager that comes in. Yeah, I totally agree.
Well, I don't know who the successor is obviously going to be, but I don't want Ruud to be the manager, I'll be honest. Not right now anyway.
I just think that'll be, I mean, if things really did go bad, like you said, that, you know,
if they had to do it midway
I think
through
Van Nistelrooy's there. He's a safe pair of hands with the fans, and we've had this before with Solskjaer.
He's a safe pair of hands with the fans for now. Like, it would get to the point that we see it. Everyone turned on Solskjaer. Solskjaer was one of the most loved United legends ever because of that goal, like obviously 99. Look how quickly everyone turned on Solskjaer, and all of a sudden the mentality of who he was kind of changed. That's going to happen to. Let's be honest. No one's exempt. If Ruud was to come in and become the manager, and I don't think he'd say no, because why would you say no to be the manager of United?
He turned down a full-time job with Burnley, didn't he? The actual manager job to come and be an assistant at United.
Exactly. He would come. If he was given the option, he would become the manager. And then all of a sudden now it takes half a season of bad results, get Ruud out, I don't want that to happen to Ruud because I love Ruud and I think everyone loves Ruud, and I don't think he's ready to be the manager of United yet. It's a good story. We all love it. Yeah, Ruud Van Nistelrooy, legend, striker, whatever, scored a lot of goals for us, won leagues, but I don't want things to go left.
Long term,
I don't want things to go left how it's happened in the past with other managers. So, yeah.
It would be that he takes over, we win a few games, all get giddy, give him the job.
Contract,
you have Rio Ferdinand and Gary Neville saying, "Get the contract out now, let him sign it," and then it all goes tits up.
Tom Palm says, "Did you know that Lindelof has the lowest conceded goals per match of all our centre backs, and no one cares? Why?" Ricky's always right, guys.
I was going to say, is that Ricky with the super chatties?
SG says we need to be 4th or 5th by the end of November, or else he's gone. He thinks. I mean, so Kev, are you like assess it?
Yeah, I'm going to sleep on it tonight. I don't want to be, like I say, I'm highly annoyed about the result today and the performance. Ten Hag, I can't back him anymore. It's actually insane. No, I can't sit here and say that everything's fine and, you know, we were just unlucky today, we got beaten by the better team. We did, but I don't like the manner of the defeat, I don't like the substitutions, team selection. So once I start getting all this, you know, all sort of built up, then yeah, I'm at the point of making a case for, You know, would it be best if Erik Ten Hag left Manchester United? But I just don't believe that it is now. But
No,
it doesn't
too
mean,
early.
yeah, it doesn't mean that obviously things can change very quickly in football, and it's all results based.
You've got to just assess it over the next few games, in my opinion, but it started on a really bad note. I mean, Tul, are you on that wavelength as well?
I'm interested to see what he does with it, to be honest, because obviously we was hoping Ugarte was going to come in, but now he's saying he's not. Is he just saying that, you know?
Yeah, not to put the pressure on. And
kind of, yeah. Is he just saying it for that, or is he genuinely? Are we actually not going to see Ugarte until like Christmas time? Which would be disappointing, obviously. Again, if we're not going to see Ugarte and then Mount's injured for a few weeks, get used to that midfield that we played today because we've just sold McTominay. We've not signed Amrabat. Who else can go in there? Collier, like. Is that it? Is that the only other?
Him and Eriksen.
such a huge game to throw him
How are we
into
going
today.
into like? How are we going into another season like this? It's mental.
Yeah.
I was thinking it today when Mazraoui went down and they were checking him for concussion, and I went, "What fullbacks do we have on the bench? Oh, no one." Again, like
Yeah, we had two keepers on the bench.
Oh yeah, we've got two keepers on the bench. It's like, how are we gone into a season like this again? It's mad. It's madness. I'm hoping we just get Højlund back from injury. Mount, I think Mount's going to be crucial this season. From what I've seen in Mount in the first two games, I think off the ball he's one of the best in the league. Maybe you can make a case that off the ball, I think he's off the ball. I think he's quality off the ball. On the ball, you can say he needs to do more on the ball. He needs to pop up with a few more goals and assists. But I actually think off the ball, he's unbelievably good, Mount. And I think that was one of the biggest things we missed today. Honestly, Mount's energy. Yeah. I think you've seen it at half time with Brighton. Yeah. I'm not saying it was the sole reason why we got beat by Brighton, but I do think that was a big. That was a big part of it. I think Mount will play an important role. But think about it this way: we've barely had Mason Mount fit, but when Mason Mount's fit, he starts, and he did last year.
Do you think Mason Mount would start if everyone was fit?
He should, based off what I've seen.
I'm not saying. I'm not even making my point. I'm not saying it from my opinion. I'm saying from Ten Hag. When Mason Mount's available, he picks him.
But I'm saying, do you think if everyone's fit, Mason Mount starts?
Depends on what system he's trying to play. If he's going to, personally, I'm not sure whether it's worth moving Bruno out of position to accommodate Mount then.
You're going to have to.
But if you're going to play that system where, you know, you want to be pressing, if you want to press off the ball and play a high press, then yeah, I think Mount starts.
And what, Bruno false nine then?
If you want to play that system, I think you have to play Mount.
False nine.
Yeah, I wouldn't. If everyone's fit, I'm starting Højlund.
Yeah. I probably would. Yeah, but I'm just saying, from Ten Hag's point of view, he's trying to. The first two games of the season, when we were pressing well, even at Brighton in the first half. Ahmad was a part of the press. Mount was probably the biggest part of it. Bruno was always going to do it. If we're going to play that system, which it kind of feels like that's what Ten Hag wants to do, then Mount plays. Yeah. When he's fit, he does play. But then it's like, are you moving players out of position? Like Højlund. Is Højlund then going to get in? Or where do you put Bruno? You put Bruno on the wing again.
You know
what I mean? It's like...
Play with five midfielders.
Yeah, it's getting a bit tricky now. So it almost feels like Ten Hag doesn't even know what he wants to play anymore. Does he want to play this high pressing system?
That's when you lose
or do we want to play more on the ball and let Bruno dictate? It's like he doesn't really know what he wants to do.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, and that's we can wrap it up on that because we've been going for so long now. I mean, on the team, we've got an international break now. I just hope that Ten Hag, has a serious think and we come out firing against Southampton. And I mean, Southampton have looked so poor. We have to do well in that game.
I'm actually glad this international break's coming.
Everyone here and every United fan wants Erik Ten Hag to do well, and they want this team to do well. No one wants to do another manager cycle, but at the same time, performances like that we have to call out and we have to digest them and analyse them. But look, everyone, thank you so much. Last couple super chats. We have Kevin Murray saying if we beat Brighton then this result wouldn't be that big of an issue. Still would have been the way we went about it. Shenanigan says only won 5 of the last 17 Prem games relegation form.
Really?
Surely that can't be true. I'd have to check that.
That's less than 30%.
I mean, I don't want to end it on that note, but that's where we're at. Anyone have a man of the match? Should we give it Dallo or Dalot?
Gotta be.
I'll give it Dalot.
Dallo.
Probably Dalot.
But look, Guys, thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. It's been a long one, and yeah, it's a depressing Sunday, and hopefully after the international break we can bounce back and look better. But to be honest with you, it's not looked better for quite a while now, but we'll see what happens, and hopefully we can improve. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Everyone, have a good one.